Hi, I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason.
Who's slapping into you? Who's running around with these skinny melancholy long legs?
They've been yelling at each other in Scottish for over 4 hours now.
I give you three sheep and a skeleton.
Can someone send a translator? I'd be eternally grateful.
Then you teach your granny to suck eggs.
Send help.
I didn't not do that, or you're bloated. Then it'd be daft. I'd make your eyes as black as the out of their space coat.
Time to learn about Dohn Mheg. Simplified. If you're using the GG support system, I'd recommend single pulling this dungeon. Head down the path until you get to the first group of enemies. The smaller enemy, called Dohn Mheg, will tether to one of the larger enemies and begin casting Watering Wheel. If this cast ends, the tethered mob will get a damage up. If you're a tank or a ranged DPS, you can target this mob and interrupt the cast. Pull these 4 mobs to continue up the path. Pull the basket and the 3 butterflies next to the door. Watch out for the basket as it can cast Straight Punch, which is the mini tank buster, and a point blank AoE called Pollen Corona. If you get caught in this AoE, you'll have to stay at home for 2 weeks or wait for the healer to Asuna the poison dot tick. Kill everything and the door will open. Head through to the next pack, pull those 4 enemies and continue up the path. When you reach the next pack of 5 enemies, the Fuwa will this time tether to the basket and cast another Watering Wheel. Again, this attack can be interrupted. The giant moth will also have a mini tank buster cast of Proboscis. Kill everything, the door will open, and it's first boss time. Candy Cane is a tank buster. Hydrofall is an AoE below random players. Just dodge out of it to avoid it. If you get hit by it, you'll get a Vuln stack. Laughing Leap will put an AoE in the middle of the arena. The boss will move to this AoE and cast Lance Blood, which is a small room-wide AoE. This will also cause several small puddles to appear around the arena. Every 3 seconds, the boss will repeat this room-wide AoE, and it will do one of 3 things to the puddles. 1. Create more small puddles. 2. Add water to the existing puddles, causing them to bubble slightly. And 3. Cause the puddles to erupt in a geyser of water in a medium-sized AoE. The only time that the AoEs will affect you is when they spurt out in a geyser. You just need to avoid the geysers of water as best you can. If you get hit by a geyser of water, you'll be thrown into the air and stunned for several seconds. The easiest way that I avoid all of the AoEs during this mechanic is that I stay close to the boss and I move to a spot where a geyser has already gone off. So if an AoE appears underneath me, I just move into a spot where a geyser has just gone off and I know I'm going to be safe. After another tank buster and hydrofall, one player will get a stack marker. Group up to share the damage. From here, the boss will repeat mechanics until it has been defeated. Continue up the path and pull the next group of mobs. As you head into the next area, a wasp nest will fall and spawn in a bunch of honey makers. Wasps aren't exactly honey makers, but we'll gloss over that. Watch out for these wasps as they will all cast an arrow short AoE called Unfinal Sting. If you get hit by this, you'll get an insunerable stack of poison for each AoE you are hit by. Also, the Rowan will cast Pinecone Bomb, which is an AoE below a random party member, and Canopy, which is a conal AoE. Head up the path of leads to the next area and pull the next 5 enemies. Watch out for the Honey Hunter as it will cast a mini tank buster called Champ and a conal AoE called Savage Swipe. Up the path ahead of you will be the Fuwa with 2 Rowans. As you get close, the Fuwa will tether one of the Rowans with a cast of Watering Wheel. Again, interrupt this cast or else the tethered Rowan will get a damage up. Avoid all of the AoEs from all the mobs, kill everything, and you can head up the next path of leaves to the second boss. The boss will turn to a random player and cast Swinge, which is a large conal AoE. Just move out of this to avoid it. If you get hit by this AoE, it will give you a Vuln stack. It will move to the middle of the room and cast Fodder. This will create 5 saplings that will all tether to the boss. The tether will give a stack of Growing. If the boss gets too many stacks of Growing, it will almost instantly enrage and wipe the group. So everyone will need to intercept the tether to avoid it being tethered to the boss. While this is going on, the boss will cast Timber, which is a room-wide AoE. After another swinge in room-wide, the boss will cast Coiling Ivy. Every single player will be fettered and binded in place with roots from the ground. The roots will become targetable and you can destroy them quickly. You can position yourself between everyone or even group up while Coiling Ivy is being cast, so you can AoE everyone's roots down faster. If you fail to get out of the roots, then you'll leave yourself vulnerable for the next swinge cast if it targets you. After another room-wide, another Coiling Ivy will bind everyone. Destroy all of the roots. While this is going off, another fodder cast will happen at the same time, so you will need to quickly break your roots and intercept the tethers. From here, mechanics will repeat until it has been defeated. Be the god that you are and walk on the water to the next area. Head up the stairs and interact with the Shell Crown. This will spawn in 3 enemies. Kill these 3 enemies and the path of water will be created for you. Pull the trio of mobs to continue down the path. Pull the next Kelpie until you get to the trio of mobs with the Naiad. This pull can be a bit spicy, so watch out for it. The Kelpie will also cast an AoE below a random party member called Spring Water and will cast Torpedo, which is a mini tank buster. And the Naiad will cast Water Balloon, which is an AoE below a random player, and Scouring Scolding, which is a conal AoE. When everything has been defeated, head up the ramp and defeat the 2 Naiads and the Fuwa at the top of the ramp. When the last ramp is created for you, head to the top and it's final boss time. Crippling Blow is a tank buster. Virtuosic Capriccio is a room-wide AoE that will give everyone an Asunable bleeding debuff. Healers be ready with regens and possibly Asuna. Imp Choir is a staring contest. If you are still looking at the boss when the cast ends, you'll be turned into an imp. The boss will then turn to a random player and cast Toad Choir. This is a wide conal AoE in the direction it's facing. If you get hit by this, you'll be turned into a toad. To avoid this, you'll need to move at least to the side of the boss or get really far away to avoid the AoE. After another tank buster, the boss will move to the north end of the room and cast Funambulist's Fantasia. This will knock back all players to the entrance of the arena and create a small narrow path for you to traverse over to get back to the boss. If you fall off the path, you will not die, but you will go back to the start of the path. The boss will encase itself in a barrier called Liar's Liar and start casting Finale. If this cast finishes, it will instantly hit hit everyone for 10 million damage. You'll be unable to damage the barrier if you try and attack it from outside of the shield. When you have finished making your way across the path, you can step inside the shield and gain the buff of Unfooled, which will allow you to damage it. When the shield has been destroyed, the arena will return to normal. The boss will move to the middle of the room and cast Changeling's Fantasia. This will change it into the Shade of Fear. It will place 2 medium to large AoEs below random players. Dodge out of these to avoid them. The Shade will turn to one player and cast Corrosive Bile. This will be a sustained conal AoE for a few seconds. Just move to the side of the Shade if it turns to face you. It will put the AoEs underneath random players, as well as casting Flailing Tentacles while putting its tentacles in the air. These will slam down on the ground in a straight line AoE, so you want to be between them to avoid them. Getting hit by a tentacle will give you an Asunarul concussion debuff. After another Corrosive Bile, the boss will return to normal. Following this is another Tank Buster, then 3 room-wide bleeding AoEs back to back. The boss will repeat mechanics until it has been defeated. If the boss performs another Changeling's Fantasia, it will become a tiny frog and be easily defeatable from here. Congratulations, you have beaten Dohn Mheg. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.